I have a fashion background. I started off my career in styling, and then I moved into
Okay.
merchandising. So I feel like my eye is very aesthetic, but I
Mm-hmm.
also have the technical skill to build things. So I think
Mm-hmm.
meshing those two things. So a lot of the time, it's like if you hire an agency, they're going to want all the copy. They're just plugging and playing. They want the copy, they want the mock up, they want the assets, they want everything. My clients will give me, here's what it is, here's the product, one line about it, here's an image, figure it out.
Welcome to Mindset Mastery Podcast, where we explore the intersections of motherhood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Julissa Edwards, and in each episode, we're diving into mindset, emotional regulation, and the real stories of mom entrepreneurs navigating both business and family life. Let's get into it. Okay, welcome back. We are here with Emily Vernon. She is the founder of Vice Versa Strategy, and we're going to get into all the things that she does. Emily, thank you for being here today, girly. I'm so excited to interview you and to have you here with the podcast. What is on your mind? How are you feeling?
Thank you so much. It's been so great chatting with you in our Blocks Bestie group chat. For those that that don't know, we met on the Blocks, and we have built this incredible bond. So I'm so excited to be on your show finally.
Yeah, it's just, it's so beautiful. I'm really like big about community. Even when I create cohorts for like my clients, I try to pull in people that have commonalities. And I think our Blocks Bestie group chat has just been so vibrant and potent because we're business owners and, we get it. And there's so much like peace that comes from knowing that somebody else knows what you're going through and that there's familiarity there and that we can connect on that and also just be ourselves. And it's been really good for me. So yeah, I'm happy.
Definitely. I
Yeah.
cannot speak highly enough about not just in entrepreneurship, but in general, having community. It's
Mhm.
so important having a community, even just of friends, of people you can talk to. But in entrepreneurship, I think we all know it gets very lonely. Your family doesn't always get it. So having that group, that closeness, being able to bounce ideas off each other, it is just, it's the most incredible thing that I took away from that experience.
Yeah, it's everything. I love it. I'm so grateful for you girlies. So yeah, so you own a digital marketing agency and you are someone that I always look to and look up to for you, like really take advantage of having a business, having it being digital, and you are always traveling.
Let me
Like,
tell you, as a person that has worked in corporate for 11 years, all of my bosses, who I'm still pretty good friends with, will tell you, I've been doing that even when I was in corporate.
okay, well, that's
Yeah,
good
I
to
think it's just,
know.
I've always had a knack for traveling. Any chance I get, I'm gonna go. I luckily have always worked in a somewhat of a digital world, even though we were in office in the past.
Mhm.
So one thing about me, I'm a book a flight.
Yes, you will.
I'm gonna
Well,
go.
your stories let us know this girl is catching yet another flight, and I love it. Yeah. So I want to talk about that because I think you have a really good balance of getting offline, ironically, even though you own a digital marketing agency.
Yeah.
You
It's
know, and
funny. I'm an elder millennial, and I feel like I am still uh I'm not as connected to the internet as everybody else. Like, yeah, of course I scroll on Instagram and I do all the things, but I'm a child of the party line. I don't know if you had the party. You're from New York, right?
yeah,
You didn't have the party line in New York?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so the party line was essentially almost like a chat room, but on the phone. So you can call in and all the numbers on your dial pad. So number one is one room, number two is another room, number three is
Stop. I
another
never
room.
experienced
And they
this.
were like chat rooms on the phone. So anybody that knows me knows I am always on the phone. All of my very close friends still live on the East Coast. They all live in Florida, where I'm from. So I'm very good at maintaining relationships, long distance, friendships, family, and everything. I'm just so used to because I'm the one that moved.
Mm.
So I'm always on the phone, and I'm from the party line days where I would meet people you have no clue what they look like. You just know they live local in your city. This is, I mean, circa 2001, two, maybe three. And you just talk to people on the phone. I built so many connections just And it's funny because there's that element of mystery. You don't know what they look like, but back then the internet wasn't
That makes sense.
interneting the way it is now. So there's nobody
Yeah.
gonna email me a picture, I guess. So
Mhm.
I think I'm just used to like a little bit of the old school way of doing things. So
Well, yeah, for sure. But you're also, but I'm like, well, that makes
yeah.
sense. Like you're someone who's very outgoing, very bubbly, and you're, I would say, correct me if I'm wrong, you're comfortable getting to know new people
Yes.
pretty often, right? And like when someone meets you, it's very easy to converse with you, and like there's not like you're someone who's comfortable, yeah, and you probably enjoy meeting new people.
Absolutely. My life is a networking event. I've
Yes.
always been that person that even I had a short stint living in New York. I would have my headphones in, be reading a book, and somebody will still talk to me and tell me their whole life. And I'm like, what is this about? I've heard you talk on other podcasts, specifically on Janine's episode.
Mm,
Shout out to Janine,
yeah.
about human design. And I realized I've been doing all the things, all the research, and I realize I'm a projector. So I think that makes a lot of sense. It's like people naturally just come to me,
Yeah.
and I'm their guide. That's my
Oh,
purpose.
interesting. Hold
Yes.
up. Because I also, I mean, I'm not like super, I'm not like a teacher of human design whatsoever.
Okay.
I've dabbled in my own, some of my
Yeah.
clients. But to protect projector energy or ways of being, you take your time with decision making, correct?
Um, Somewhat, but a lot of it has to do with I'm supposed to wait for an invitation. So I
Yes.
wait for an invitation,
Yes.
but what I'm learning in the process is discernment. I have to discern which invitations are for me and which ones aren't. But my purpose in life is to like be people's guides, give advice, and that's something that I've always done.
Yeah, and you do get invited to a lot of great things and that are aligned with what you would like and what you do. And wow, that makes so much sense.
Absolutely. And let me tell you, learning this about myself has actually changed a lot of things in my business or the way that I seek clients, if you will. I've noticed that anytime I'm not in the business of chasing down people or continuously following up. I've just even in careers haven't been the greatest follow upper, if you will. But I've noticed that as a projector, you're supposed to wait for the invitation. All of the clients or a lot of them, it's like they've reached out to me, they were seeking me, they were, you know what I mean? And I think that works well in business relationships for me. It's like if I'm chasing you, it never ends up becoming a client. So
Mm,
it has to be an organic connection and you have to really want my services. And
mm.
that's kind of like how it's been, where it's like people reach out to me and that's been the nature of it.
Yeah, that's a great insight for life and for
Yeah,
business. Yeah, it seems to be
absolutely.
working for you. I love that. It more ease, more flow, and that's what human design was supposed to do. Allow you to understand yourself better so that you're not having so much friction with the way that you literally run your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for me, I gotta read now I want to revisit mine. As a manifester, I am supposed to broadcast my vision, my intention. So my like thing is all about like share the news with people as to like what you're doing. And that does come naturally for me. I love, if you see my Instagram, I love giving just like updates, like my family updates, business updates,
Yes, you are
like
so incredible with that. And that is something that I really admire about you.
thank you. I love it. Like I really do love it. Like it doesn't seem like it doesn't become a nuisance for me. I find it fun. I feel really blessed that like, I get to share my life online and like people enjoy it and I enjoy doing it. And it's a fun. It's a win-win. And so when I learned more about the manifestor within me, it was like a lot about like my throat chakra, like being able to utilize that and like literally broadcast like what it is that I'm doing so I can notify people. So the opposite of the projector, right? So I can notify people of like what's going on and yeah, you're invited in if you want into
Exactly.
this, world kind of thing. So, but now I'm like, I gotta revisit that because
Yeah, definitely look into it because it tells you the type of rest you need. For instance, as a projector, I don't have a sacral gland, which means I don't produce my own energy. I get energy off of people. So
mm,
I actually get
which
more
makes
exhausted.
sense why you travel so much.
Yes. And I get exhausted more
Mhm.
easily. So it actually, when I was digging into it, it says that I can't have a traditional job. I need more rest than others because
Mhm.
I'm not naturally producing my own energy. I'm feeding off of other people's energy. So if I talk to 100 people in a day, by the end of the day, I'm just like wiped out. They also say projectors should sleep alone, which is kind of crazy because even
Mhm.
sleeping next to somebody, you're getting their energy. Very
Mm.
interesting things. Yeah. Yeah, you're feeding off of others' energy. And it's so funny because I used to be one of those people that be like, I hate people. I'm so like, but that's so not true. I love people. I take something away and learn from every single conversation I have.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk to people. It doesn't matter who it is. Like I always gain something. There is somebody that I follow that I repost a lot called the Hood Healer.
Mhm.
She is a clairvoyant, and she always says she's very funny online, but there's something that she says that resonates with me is when God speaks to you through your Uber driver. Like sometimes you have a conversation with you and it just hits home and you're like, damn, I wasn't expecting that from the janitor in my building, like just having
Mhm.
conversations with anybody, you can learn so much. So
Much.
I just love
Absolutely.
connecting with people. And I think again, yeah, that is where I travel a lot. I welcome change, maybe a little bit too much. So I'm always just moving around.
Yeah. So a lot of this is more like it's ingrained within you, right? And so a lot of us in this day and age, like we're so hyper fixated on our phone, on social media, and like even myself, like I have to literally these days, I don't know why, particularly like in this chapter of my life, I have to forcibly put my phone in my room, so that I am not on it because even when I'm downstairs, like doing cooking, cleaning with the kids, my brain it will think like, well, how do I do that? And then I'll go like, oh, let me just Google it. And then the Google goes from Google to something
Yeah.
else or something to emails. And it's like, how now I'm here 20 minutes later. How did I get here? And like literally for me, the only way to not do that is to like chuck my phone in my bedroom and just go downstairs and not have access to it at all.
Yeah.
So how do you find balance separating yourself from the digital world?
I can say it is especially difficult for me because my clients hit me up all the time. So
Mhm.
I've made myself available and a little bit on call. So I'm always like glued to my phone a little bit just to make sure someone's not, you know, needing something. But I always have my phone on silent. So if I don't hear it, I don't hear it, which is okay. I'm
Mhm.
near it, but if I don't hear it, it's fine. I actually have implemented very recently screen time with specifically on Instagram.
Mhm.
So 3 hours a day sounds like a lot, but I was doing more than that. So 3 hours cuts off. Some days I don't even reach the limit. Some days I do, but it's usually by like 10 or 11 p.m. So I make sure that I get off of Instagram or I'm just like, you know, I try to get off the phone. But there's so many things you can do. I know a lot of people that use do not disturb. After a
Yeah.
certain time, you won't get the phone call.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I just try my best to just move on to something else, go outside, take a walk, work out, do something. But I try not to be glued to the phone 24/7, even though I am like making sure I'm available for things.
Hmm. You know what I'm thinking of? It's a good perspective, I think. I think the reason maybe why you're people in general and you're able to have more of a balance with that is because you're putting things into your life that you really want to do.
Yes.
Like I know for me, when I'm bored, I'm like, I'm gonna just scroll on Instagram, And so if we're filling our lives with things that are pulling us to be more present and less on our phones, and it's a little bit easier than to not be on your phone.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast by Mel Robbins, and it was such a simple concept, but it was a necessary reminder for myself. And she was talking about like happiness and studies of like across the globe of like, what helps somebody become happier. And she chuckled when saying the response because she was like, this is so silly, but it's so necessary. She was like, you fill up your days with fun things to do so that you can be a happier person. And so, and for you, like yeah, you outwardly go out to travel to new places and connect with people and do things that you enjoy. You're someone who's great at meeting up with friends all around the world. Like I guess there's something within you that you are actively seeking fun into your weeks, your months, and you're planning in advance for that, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like I make a lot of time for that. Like this week has been insane. I've been going 100 miles per hour, and a lot of them are event related. I have event after event, networking, this, meeting up for lunch, and I feel like I do make an active effort to be in my friends' lives or even just constantly networking because you never know, your client might be your neighbor, the person next to you. You
Mhm,
never know.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so tell us more about like the mindset behind how you balance that all because you are a busy bee and I love to see it. And how does your body let you know that you are getting close to burnout and what do you do to aid that?
Yeah, I get especially yesterday, like I was wiped out. I was like, okay, I need to take a shower, just get directly in bed. I need to
Mm,
just lay in the bed, wind down. I have a long day today. So I just make sure I get the rest. One thing about me, I'm going to sleep. I need 8 hours. So I don't skimp on the sleep. I'm definitely going to get myself in bed and just be nonverbal for a couple of hours. Can't
mm,
talk on the phone anymore. I'm just too tired. Don't have any more words. So I definitely do a good job of if I need to be in my cave for a day and not, talk or socialize, I definitely make time for that as well. Um, I also, even though there are a lot of apps for, that promote scrolling and things like that, there's also a ton of meditation apps and resources. I definitely use Insight Timer
me
to
too.
meditate. Sometimes I need to
Yeah.
calm my mind. Yeah, Insight Timer is amazing. There's also Headspace, there's Calm, there's a couple others. For those that have trouble sleeping, there's a ton of like bedtime stories and sleep meditations. I don't have an issue sleeping. I close my eyes and I could fall asleep right now. So but I follow a lot of like astrology and like wellness people online. So I feel like I make my timeline what I want it to be, if that
Yes,
makes sense. I
yes.
recently did like a big scrub and unfollowed like 600 people, I think.
I had to do that.
Inactive pages, a lot
Mhm.
of them. Brands I don't care about. I'm not looking at. I follow a million restaurants that I've never been to, and I'm like, you can just save it. You don't have to follow them. So I feel like I make my timeline very tailored to my interests.
Mm,
I follow a lot of agencies, so I get a lot of agency information, get a lot of ideas. What are other people in the digital world talking about? I follow a lot of fashion pages, follow a lot of Frenchies. I have a Frenchie, I'm a Frenchie mom. So I follow just, pages that meet my interests, and I feel like my explore page is calming in a sense. Like it's not chaos, it's not people getting shot on my timeline. Like I don't see all the things that often because I've made
mm,
my timeline about food and things that I care about. So it feels more like a Pinterest board than it does
yes.
news.
I was just gonna say that, yeah, it was giving like Pinterest. Like when I go on Pinterest, it's like a very calm energy. I'm looking for inspiration.
Yes.
I'm looking for like arts and crafts, things like that. And so I think this is a good reminder of like, yeah, like if you are on social media, which is like who is not these days, just like have a clean, do a little clean out of like who you're following, what you're attracting within the algorithm. Because if you find yourself getting drained, then I don't know, maybe you were following, maybe somebody's following like real estate homes for inspiration. And then I don't know, all of a sudden it just got to a point where it seems out of reach or it's not bringing you joy or pleasure
Yeah.
anymore, And so then it's like, yeah, let's just clean this out for now and focus on what will make me feel good when we have that automatic habit of picking up our phone and going on Instagram or wherever your social media of choice is. So,
Exactly. Yeah. I think the timeline is truly what you make it. The algorithms know exactly what you're searching, what you're looking up, so you can kind of control these things because it's pretty much studying you to learn about you.
mhm,
So make it a Pinterest board, make it something beautiful, make it something inspirational, make it calming. You love dogs, animals, make it a petting zoo. I love Mudeng. I don't
mhm.
know if you are a part of the Mudeng craze. Have you
Mm-mm.
been seeing her? She's this
No.
baby hippo that was born in a Thailand. I've been posting her like crazy in a Thailand zoo. She's like 2 or 3 months old now, and she's just like
Oh,
chaos, and she's just funny, and she's always wet, and she's flipping around in the water, and she's just the cutest little internet
so
sensation. And she has an
oh,
attitude, so people love her. But yeah, my timeline is mudang. Like you can make it whatever you want. You can make it peaceful or you can make it noisy, and that it's really up to you. The algorithms are listening to you.
hell yeah. Hell yeah. As you're talking, I'm like connecting all the points that I know about you as a friend. I'm like, you are someone who is beautifully like your brand. We all have our own brand. It's not
Yeah.
just who we are as a person, and whether you're in business or not. And you're so like it follows you everywhere and it's so beautiful. Like even in your timeline and the way that you choose to spend your time, like you're this very like warm and inviting person, and it kind of just follows everywhere. So I want to talk about that energy and how that corresponds to your clients, right? Because in the world of business, and when you're choosing to work with somebody, there's plenty of us. There's plenty of therapists slash coaches. There's plenty of people that are working in digital marketing. But what makes us stand out, for you, it's like it's your personality, it's your warmth, it's your connectedness, and so I would imagine that you also help your clients have a positive relationship with their internet and technology, correct?
Yes. I feel like a lot of my selling points are like I truly give the white glove service to my clients and I hold their hand, I walk them through it. I know a lot of these things are very confusing. And if you hire an agency that works with enterprise brands or bigger, they're going to e-com jargon you to death and you're not going to know what they're talking about. And you're going to be like, well, they sound smart, so I'm just going to hire them and pay them $12,000 a month. But do you actually know what they're doing? So I feel like my competitive advantage, if you will, is my connection with my clients and being able to translate that language to them and have them understand very simply, like, here's what I'm doing for you, keeping them updated. And being able to get that off of their plate. I work with a lot of small businesses and entrepreneurs. Trust me, nobody understands burnout more than I do. I balance a ton of things. At the top of the year, I had 11 clients. I had a lot going on. So I understand what it is to be the solopreneur and to be doing everything. But I always tell people, if you don't understand how to do something, just hire someone to do it. So for a quick example for email, everyone's like, yeah, I built this email list and don't worry, I could build it. I could send emails. There's AI and you can create your own emails and do anything.
Yeah.
But sending you to your entire list, you're going to go to spam. That's the quickest way to spam, is sending to your whole list every single time. But a lot of people don't know, and they don't have time to do the research to understand that you're actually losing more customers by doing things yourself because you don't understand the spam filters. You don't understand the new Google requirements and Gmail requirements.
Yeah, you pointed out some of those things, even for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I catch things all the time, and I tell people, hey, just looking out. A nice way to test is to, if you have an additional email that you aren't signed up to, or if you have, create an additional email, sign up for your email list and see if you even get an email. If you're caught in a spam filter, you can find, that's the quickest way to figure it out. So I know what it is to do everything, and I think I take those things off of my clients' plate. Don't stress about this. A lot of my clients are truly creatives. Go do the creative things. Go be the creative director. Go talk on the panels. Do all of those things. Don't worry about how do I set up a homepage. It's going to take you 3 times longer, and you're working so deep in your business when you could just hire someone to do it in an hour, and it's going to be that much faster. So I feel like I take that off of my client's plate. That's one less thing they have to worry about. Another thing that I think is special about me versus working with a traditional web developer is web developers are very type A, and they will implement something, but you have to tell them specifically what to do. So you have to give them the wireframe. You have to give them a mock-up of what to do, and they can do it beautifully, probably be more beautiful than I can, but they don't have that creative eye. I have a fashion background. I started off my career in styling, and then I moved into merchandising. So I feel like my eye is very aesthetic, but I also have the technical skill to build things. So I think meshing those two things. So a lot of the time it's like, if you hire an agency, they're going to want all the copy. They're just plugging and playing. They want the copy, they want the mock-up, they want the assets, they want everything. My clients will give me, here's what it is, here's the product, one line about it, here's an image, figure it out. And I do it every time. And I do it without asking a lot of questions. I do my own independent research. I look at your competitors and I do my due diligence. And I think that is like, as a strategist, that's just how my brain works. And I come up with ideas really quickly, and I don't need a lot to go off of. Like I always say, I make beautiful things out of nothing. So I think that's an advantage I have over others. You're going to be paying an arm and a leg, and you actually have to provide them a lot more information. And then you don't even know what to give them. You don't have a creative team. You don't have a graphic designer.
I can so relate to that. Like I love all the help that I've gotten in my business. And sometimes I know that when I hire, most of my team is long term, so I love them. They're perfect. Sometimes I will hire out for like specialists, right? Like help
Yeah.
me do this, help me do that, just for this one season of my business that I can, take and do more in the future with. And I will say that they are incredibly helpful, but it is to what you're saying where it's because it's a one-time shot kind of thing and they're very fixated on what they do, they request a lot of my own work to do it beforehand. I'm like, oh my God, I hired you so that I wouldn't have to think about all this work.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So then it's like, okay, let me get my ish together. Let me submit this, I don't know, proposal, vision board, whatever it is that you need, and then you can fully do it out. And I guess what you're saying is that you're intuitive, you're creative, you have an eye, and so you're able to just work with what the client gives you, which is such an alleviator as a solopreneur, or even as someone like myself who has a small team. Yeah, that's so necessary. That is a game changer.
Definitely. And I feel like I ask questions that are going to kind of give me the answers. So for instance, a lot of my preliminary questions, let's say I'm working with a brand. What sites do you like to shop? You give me a list. What are your favorite brands? You give me a list. I already have an example. You don't even have to provide me anything at this point. Because now
Mm,
I can go do my research. Oh, you love kids? Let me go online and look. Oh, you like Fear of God? Let me go online and look and see what kind of templates they're using, see what their aesthetic is.
mm,
And I have a SVP from many, many years ago that I worked with at BCBG, and I'll never forget what she used to always tell us: steal shamelessly. You're not stealing, but you're getting inspired by other brands. That's what everybody does. We look at
yeah,
what
it's
is your
artwork.
competitor doing? Who's best in class? Target, their website, their app. What are they doing that's
What are they
great?
doing? Yeah.
Implement it into your brand. So that's what I do. I look at other sites. As long as I have one visual reference point, I can kind of come up with some ideas.
Mm,
So that's what I normally do. Just the line of questioning and then looking at your brand and your images and your aesthetic, I can kind of come up with something from there.
mm,
Or a lot of the time, it's like they don't even really have an established personal brand. So I'm helping them build that based off of what kind of person you are,
mm,
what is your logo,
mm.
and what is your product. And then we can kind of build something around that.
I love it. I'm just thinking about everything that we've spoken about today and how it all, for me, I'm like, this all makes sense because you're such an explorer, you're such a connected person, and your fashion background, like your want and desire to be connected to other people, to see new things, have new places, new experiences, like that makes you a better web developer, a better creative eye to help other people. Would you agree?
Definitely. I think being a student is important, always willing to learn. A lot of these other agencies, they've been doing this for 20 years and they almost feel like they know it all. They're not teachable. So I
Mm,
feel like I am always willing to learn. I'm learning so many new industries by working with different clients. I have CPG clients, I have fashion clients. I worked with Frida from Frida Print, which is on the blocks
mm,
as well, and she has a marketplace for sustainable restaurant goods. It's like so many different industries, but that's such an amazing challenge for me because I love to learn. So I'm
mm.
like, oh, let me go and see what I can figure out about this. And I just have so many different clients and I'm just always learning something new. And I think that's like an exciting challenge for me. And that challenges my strategy as well. How can I come up with a strategy for XYZ that I know absolutely nothing about? I have a energy gummy client. I didn't know much about that before, targeting specifically athletes and runners. Done a ton of research. Now I feel like I'm very well versed in that industry as well.
Hey mamas, real quick, are you trying to juggle motherhood and that burning desire to launch your business? Well, I've got something just for you. I'm hosting a free webinar that dives deep into how you can master motherhood and entrepreneurship. Yes, you can do both. I'll be sharing the same actionable steps that I've used to help countless moms launch their businesses while staying grounded and connected to their families. If you've been feeling the pull to start that business and you don't know where to begin, or you're struggling to balance it all, this webinar is for you. In this webinar, we'll unpack those mindset blocks, get you calm, confident, and ready to thrive as a mom and a business owner. Head to the show notes to save your seat. It's totally free. You don't want to miss this. Let's do this together, mama. Join the webinar. The link is in our show notes. a lot of your clients, they need help with, I know, like emails and many different things, but you help alleviate that load off of them, which is super helpful. This season in Mindset Mastery, we're talking a lot about mamas and entrepreneurs. And so you stated earlier, pre-recording, that you do have a lot of clients that are mothers, correct?
Yes, I have a lot of mothers, a lot of parents,
Yeah,
fathers as well.
others
And
too.
it's so amazing because first of all, I'm very inspired by watching them being able to manage these schedules with all these kids. Shout out to Formed Scrubs, which is one of my clients. Her name's Bianca. She's an incredible friend and also client. She has 3 kids. All of her kids are in a sport. One is in college. And you want to talk about traveling? She travels more than I do. The way she balances it so flawlessly, and I'm so glad that I'm able to take one thing off of her plate because she's balancing so much. And it's just incredible to watch my clients and be able to give them back that time that I know when you're at home, you're trying to put your kids to bed. That's your CEO time, right? To go and build your emails and do all the things. But that's time that you're taking away from your family when you could just outsource it real quick. You have someone that understands. I'm not going to harass you through the week. We don't need to do weekly touch bases unless that's something that the client requests. But I know that my clients have very limited time. So anything I can do to make it easier for them, get all my questions out of the way, maybe touch base here and there so we can talk about sales or new product launches or that sort of thing could be communicated via email as well, whatever is easier for my clients. But I feel like I take that load off so they can spend a lot more time with their families.
Yeah, I mean, that's everything. Like, I mean, you said it best. It's like, yeah, you could either have a long day at work. I know for me, it's like I usually, for most days, I work in the mornings, then I have the kiddos later until bedtime. I put them to sleep. And like, yeah, if there's any other business task that didn't get completed, it's going to be done in the nighttime. And, if you are able to alleviate some of that stress for people, for families or people that are in, sorry, people that have kiddos, parents, mothers, that is absolutely amazing. And it's such a stress reliever. And you give off the energy of like, I'm here to support you,
Yeah.
here to make your life easier. And you also, in the way that you speak, you have such pride in that. Like, I can tell that it's something that you really value. And it's like, yeah, I'm really good at my business. And I'm also I'm a people person. I want to
Yeah.
help support
I'm in
you.
the business of people at the end of the day, supporting people, helping people. I'm literally creating your vision. What is your vision? Explain it to me. I love to see the passion and the way people talk about their brands and their companies. And I try to really, truly get as close as I can to bringing that vision to light. And then back to the mamas, like being able to support them through that journey of motherhood, being able to support them in the quickest, easiest ways possible. Like, I want you to not spend so much time on me and more time on your business and working in it day to day. And I know so many people take things on and I think they get a badge or something for learning how to do everything and juggling everything. But that's the quickest way to exhaust yourself. You don't have to do that. You can learn, a little light thing about digital marketing because you can't properly delegate unless you kind of understand, right? You have an idea. But you don't have to do it all. You don't have to learn how to do everything. If you are really good at building XYZ in your business, do that. You're creative and
Yes,
you want to do the photo shoot in the direction and you want to create the product. And that is so much in itself. You don't have to learn how to do everything. And again, back to email, so finicky. You are actually it's counterproductive sometimes to manage it in-house yourself. Because you don't know what you don't know. And there's so many regulations now with email. It is the quickest way to spam. You're going to lose half your audience and not even realize that you're doing it.
It's so true. Like everything is constantly changing, but email has changed drastically in the last couple of months.
Yes.
Like 6 to 12 months. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like DMARC authentication was the one big one. It's like you have to authenticate your domain. A lot of people didn't know that. They saw the message, they clicked out, and that's it. Luckily, a company like Klaviyo, who I have a partnership with, they're amazing at reminding you and letting you know, and you can't really move forward until you do it, but some of them don't. So unless you have like an email professional, you're probably not going to do it. And then that you can lose your entire list like that. So it's really important if you are going to do it right. I tell every new client or person that has a business this, and not to scare them, but unless you're going to be consistent with email, send constantly or do not send at all. If you have a big list and you're like, I don't know what to do with it, it's fine. Don't send anything. Until you're ready to be consistent and at least send on a weekly basis, it's not worth it because you're gonna lose your audience and you're gonna go to spam. And all those people that you worked so hard over the years to build that list, you're gonna lose them. And once you're in spam, that's it. There's no way out.
Mm. Yeah, what I'm gathering from you too, like when to be super frank, like this is not my world. So I'm like,
Yeah.
some of these things are like over my head. I know they're important. And so that's why I have my team members
Yeah.
to help with that. And so I think tell me if you agree with this. I think when new business owners are looking for help in this area, it would be beneficial. Like I know for me, I could have hired someone to do this one time for me kind of thing and help me fix certain errors. Whereas I much more enjoy long-term contractors like this. Like I've had my web developer brand specialist for like literally 4 years. And now it's easier to talk to her because she knows who I am. She knows my brand. She knows, all these things that I would have issues with. I would just like delegate to her and like sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I feel a little I don't want guilty is not the right word. Like, should I be knowing more about this? But I'm like, no, I hired these individuals to help me with this, so I don't have to know the latest because I don't. Like, it's just I am a coach and therapist focused on attending to my clients, making
Yep.
sure that I'm doing my things there. And so like, yeah, we cannot do everything. So would you recommend long-term support as opposed to maybe
Absolutely.
one time, just a quick fix kind of thing?
Absolutely. And it's so funny because it sounds contradictory because I'm a one woman show, but that's not the long term plan. I'm definitely in the process, and I've talked to you about this in the group chat before, of looking into getting a team. As a solopreneur, I have my strong suits and then I have my skills that as an ADD person, I'm probably not going to have. So, full transparency, it's been very hard to get organized. I have tools that have been helping me, Monday.com, a couple others. But I'm not that organized, SOPs and doing that sort of thing. That's just invoicing. All of those things are not fun to me. So VA is definitely top of mind for me.
Yeah.
So I'd love to delegate that because I am the creative, I'm the strategist. That's what my brain does. So just wanted to throw that out there as the solopreneur because I'm like, oh, hire me. So you don't do everything, but I'm doing everything.
Yeah. Here for
I'm managing
transparency.
that big workload, but I think I lost your question in that. Sorry. What was the
No, no,
question?
you answered it. It was a question
Okay.
like, yeah, if somebody wants to work with you or somebody
Oh,
like you,
long term.
yeah, long term, then yeah,
Absolutely. I think a lot of these services, because I do offer like one-off per project things. So usually, typically, web development's one-off. It's like, okay, I build your site one and done. But once I build your site, are you going to be updating it? Are you going to be consistent with
right.
updating it? Are you going to swap out your content? Um,
And like if you have me on your team long term, I can be actively looking at it on a weekly basis to see what could be bettered, as opposed to letting things pile up. And now your site is really, I don't know, not working for some reason. Whereas having you on my team could have just prevented that. And we're always making it better, always making it easier for clients or potential clients to sift through. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just if you're not going to be able to manage it or maintain it, it's definitely something that I can help on a long-term basis. If you're doing a launch, I can upload your products. I can swap out content. I could change the SEO. I can, constantly be making, there's little updates that always need to be made on a website. So I think that's
Yeah.
something, if you can't be consistent, definitely hire somebody because it affects so many things down the road. It affects your organic traffic if you're not filling out, the bare minimum SEO requirements, the alt text, and all sorts of things on your site. So definitely something long term. But I have had clients that are just like, oh, can you build all my automation flows for my email and then I'll figure it out later. And I'm like, you can do that,
That's
but
not me.
again, if you're not sending consistently, it's not worth it.
Yeah, so give me a breakdown for like someone who's like this is all like what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Like so what exactly is it that you do? So you build web design. So like that could be for their website, of course, landing pages, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong.
No,
A
you
land-
are. You're
a
good.
landing page is like just a one product advertisement, like not your whole company, right? So you help them with creation of those things and emails, right? What, because you do a lot. What, tell me like all the
Sure.
things
Let
you
me
can
break it down for you.
remember.
So
Yes.
from web development, I build websites. Let's say you're a new business owner, you're like, oh, one of the things on the list, I have to build a website. So I build websites. If you have a website and you're like, I built it myself, I don't really like it, it's not really my brand, but I can't figure it out, I'll do a redesign for you. Or I'll re-platform, meaning let's say you're on
Like Wix.
Big Cartel or Wix or something, and you want to move over to Shopify. I can
Okay.
do that integration and move all your products over to Shopify. Another thing that I do is site support. And what in my industry we call it CRO, which is conversion rate optimization. So essentially, you're like, I have a site, it's not really performing. I know something's missing, not sure what. I comb through your site, look at your competitors, and I'll say, hey, I recommend you do a loyalty program. Maybe 60% of your audience are returning. So you should implement a loyalty program and incentivize your customers that have, been
Mhm.
coming back over and over again. And then I will implement that strategy. Or if you're like, oh, I do monthly launches, but I don't have time to upload the product, I'll upload the product, I'll re-merchandise the sites, I'll build the landing pages. Let's say you're like, oh, I don't have an about us, I don't have a FAQs, I'll go in and I'll build those landing pages, like you mentioned before. Um, and I also offer email and SMS, like retention services. So if you're like, I have this email list, don't know what to do with it, I come up with a monthly email calendar. I create all of the emails and I send them out, and then I come up with strategies. I do a lot of A/B testing. So I'll test subject lines like um, testing promotion versus personalization, which is a new big thing. Like, hey, Emily, like those emails always feel very special when you have like a personalized message. I have a specific subject line tester that I use to see if it's going to score high, because subject lines also have a lot to do with why people go to spam. Having too spammy of a subject line could trigger a
I
spam.
learned that
If
too,
you're
like
too
a
salesy,
percentage. Yeah, like getting
yeah, if it's too
more.
like promo, quickest way to spam. You're going to trigger a spam filter, go directly to spam. So you have to make sure you're very careful with that. And I have a specific tester that I use. And if it scores over 90, it typically has like a higher open rate based on that score, or the probability of a higher open rate.
Mhm.
So I'm very careful with my techniques and things that I use. I'm sending
So
to
you're creating the copy for the client in their
the
email.
copy, unless you provide it for me, which is a nice to have, but it doesn't happen so often, depends on the client. But I come up with, yeah, the email send. So for instance, I mentioned Speed Labs, which is my energy gummy company.
Mhm.
I've been coming up with creative ways to message them, because how much can you say to these athletes twice a week? You know what I mean? So run clubs, that's a new big thing. I joined one recently. So I did one specifically around run clubs, and then testing the subject line, like personalization first or mentioning the run club first. What's more important to people? Testing templates, having promo high on the page, lower on the page. I'm always testing and changing things, and trying to find new innovative ways to speak to these audiences and talk to them the way they want to be talked to, essentially. And then speaking to your VIPs, like when I'm segmenting, and your highly engaged audiences, completely different than you do a brand new audiences. So finding a different brand voice to speak to them in, because you have to talk them all differently. I also set up, which is called like automation flows. And that's essentially your welcome email. So somebody signs up for your emails, they get this welcome email. Sometimes it's a series, so they'll get one, and then 3 days later get another one. Is there a promotion in there? Are you not a promotional company? Let's find another creative way to get them to shop. Your abandoned cart series. So if you leave something in your cart, you get triggered an email. How quickly are you going to get that? 12 hours, 72 hours. So lots of testing going on there. Um,
Mhm.
and just setting up different ways to message your audiences in creative ways. That's pretty much what I'm doing.
Wow, you do so much.
I do a lot. I know.
You do
I
so
do a
much.
lot.
Okay, well, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for that breakdown, girly. Because yeah, it's helpful to know exactly like what it is that you can help, that you can provide support in. So, all right, I have learned so much about you. I genuinely love learning more. I love learning more about people, but especially those that are super close to me. And I think you're a beautiful person inside and out, and it shows in the way that you handle your clients and the way that you live your life. And so at the end of the show, we always hold space for vulnerability. Um, And so, yeah, girly, any area of your life, it could be business, it could be personal, spiritual, because I know we vibe there too. Anything that you have been having some hardship with, that you're struggling with, or that you've just maybe want a listening ear, some support in, please feel free to share. And
Oh, girl, you know I want to get therapized. I love this. This is my favorite part. And you know this from behind the scenes, but I have struggled so much with imposter syndrome, and it shocks people every time I tell them. And that's why you said I'm surprised you're so not connected with your phone, or I'm not. I have like this hardship with being on camera. A lot of the reason why I went on the blocks was to get over my fear of being in front of a camera. I've always opted for careers that were a little bit more behind the scenes. So styling behind the scenes, not in front of the camera. E-commerce, I'm behind the scenes. But why? I don't have the personality for behind the scenes. It doesn't make any sense. As a child, my parents took 1,000 million pictures of me all the time. They actually would record over my brother and my sister's stuff. So I was like the golden child. So I just really don't understand where my fear of the camera came from. I have been working really hard through it. I recently did a photo shoot of myself. I've been doing all the things to really put myself out there. I'm telling you, the blocks has helped so much with my confidence. Going to these networking things helps me. And a new stage that I want to unlock is like, a lot of it has to do with public speaking too. I'm not super comfortable doing that amongst my peers, life of the party. But when it's going on a stage, it's like, I try to picture the crowd naked. Nothing works. I don't have the techniques down, but that's something that I really struggle with. And I'm really trying to put myself out there, especially on LinkedIn and stuff, because I want to speak at conferences in the future. And that's kind of like I want to be a thought leader in my industry and be able to speak to people. I feel like when I speak, people are very engaged, and I feel like that's definitely my purpose.
Absolutely.
People, I attract people everywhere I go. So help me with that.
I'm like, what's the problem here? Because I don't think that you lack skill.
It's not the skill, and I don't doubt my skill either. So I'm not sure why I get so incredibly nervous.
No, I meant like, because when I saw you on the blocks, BT Dubs, we'll put that link too in our show notes. Emily and I were on season 13 of the blocks. We'll leave that down there so you guys can watch. It was a competitive competitive TV show. But yeah, when I was in the pods with you, you didn't seem nervous. So that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think it's a lack of, even if you are nervous, you are doing the hard thing, and that will only get better with time. So what's the real issue here, that you're just extremely uncomfortable doing it?
I think so. And I honestly feel like the blocks has helped me work through that. And now I'm like doing all the things, but I definitely feel like I hold myself back a lot and then I make excuses.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So I feel like even with my website, I had been working on it for months on and off. And it's just like, you build websites, I did it in 3 days. Just do it. Just do the finish thing. I am an extreme procrastinator. I think a lot of it has to do with the ADD too. It's like, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But I'm like holding myself back, and it's like, just do it, because doing it. And then, for instance, like, I created my LinkedIn for my business. The amount of opportunities that came out of 2 posts that I did. Insane. I'm like, imagine if you post every week. Imagine if you post every day. But I just won't do it.
Is it just that you're genuinely overwhelmed because you're doing a lot of other things?
Yes, but I find a lot of time to chill too. So I found a lot of me time that I feel like I could be filling that time with. I don't want to force productivity on myself, because then I don't like it. Then I don't want to do it anymore. And I don't ever want to not love what I do. So I don't want to force anything that's not supposed to be. But I know the results that come out of doing the hard thing. But sometimes I just like, I don't know. It's almost like analysis paralysis. Like, I overthink it and I think so much, and then I just don't do it. Same thing with like social media posts. It's like, I do so much research. I'm looking at agencies. What are people doing? Industry trends. I attend conferences. I have a wealth of knowledge.
I see.
Put it together. And then the other day I sent you a video where I'm like, I'm doing the hard thing. I was doing my CEO time at 10 p.m. I banged out like 10 different social media posts in 2 hours, 3 hours.
Okay, so it's a little bit like of the imposter syndrome where like you I know your ish. Like there's no doubt about that. You know your stuff. It's more so about getting it done. So
Yes.
maybe more of the ADD tendencies because that's not really imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Right? It's like getting you to do it. And so my advice slash suggestion would be to switch the perspective on it. Because when you
Mhm.
talked about the whole LinkedIn thing, it was like I finally got it done. I did the 2 posts and it brought so many opportunities, but it was coming from a place of like judgment and scarcity where it was like, if you only did more, Emily, you could be having more opportunities. And it was like,
Yeah.
but we did do the thing and we got some opportunities. Like, why aren't we celebrating that? Like
Um,
it seems like your motivation to get things done is, you tell me, it could just be the one example, but kind of built from like someone who's like punishing you of like, come on, Emily, like get this
yes.
done. Why is this not getting done? Shaming you
Yes.
versus look, when I did the CEO, night, I got 10 things done. That was amazing. The thought behind doing more LinkedIn posts could just be, I get to share what I do best and see what opportunities come my way because of it. But it doesn't have to. Like you kind of seem like you have a
Yeah.
very structured brain where it's like if I'm not consistent, it won't work. And it's like we can just start and you
Yeah.
do the 2 posts and it's like when we find time again, maybe have some more structure where it's like where you're gonna do that, but it can't be the energy of like a do all be all or it's not gonna work. It's like it honestly, this is also more spiritual, intuitive, and like your projector energy too of like people will invite me places. I just have to show up, but I don't, take the pressure off of like always showing up. Like, no, I just have to show up,
Yeah.
and little by like, look, you were not doing it at all. You did 2 posts and a lot came of it. So your theory of like, I know algorithm wise, like you're supposed to do it all the time, but like not in your scenario.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
True. Yeah.
where I'm more interested in like, where does that authoritative like parenting, like no 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 bad Emily, like where is that stemming from?
I think it's like I see so many things online where it's just like you have to do this, you have to put yourself out there, you have to like that's always the nature of like, and I think that's why I'm so anti social media when it comes to myself, is because there's so much pressure to be consistent. Everything is consistency, and you have to do it and you have to brand yourself. But I think you see my personal page, and my brand is how I feel that day. It's like, am I doing posts about things that I really care about, or am I doing a funny post, or am I posting about Mudang, the little hippo? It's like it's always, you never know what you're going to get when you're clicking my page. And I think the idea, and I think that's just the Aquarius rebelliousness in me, where it's like I challenge that way of thinking of just it has to be. And I think that is very much Instagram, which is why everybody says that you'll love TikTok so much, in which I just got a TikTok. But everyone's like, you'll love it because there's no rules there. And I think there's too many rules on Instagram for me, which is why it's hard for me to be consistent. Or same thing with LinkedIn. It's so professional and
Professional,
like
yeah.
polished. And yeah, I may
I'm
look that
so
way, but
removed
I
from
am
that world.
so not
Yeah.
that girl. I am a rebel at heart. I am anti-capitalism in all the ways possible. Which is why I think working corporate America will work for me for only so long, because I'm just so for the people and I want to help people and I want to do good in the world. So I'm like, that doesn't necessarily always work for me, but I think I just see so many things of like where it makes you kind of ridicule yourself, where you're like, you got to do this and you got to be consistent and there's so much hustle involved in the social media thing that it just turns me off.
So yeah, okay. So the only ounce of like, okay, maybe some imposter syndrome is because you're spending too much time researching. And
Oh,
just
analysis paralysis.
yes, and just not doing it. And when I like it feels like there's friction there, like you can't move forward, you can't do the
I
thing.
can't. That's how I feel. And I feel like I am so obsessed with the idea of it looking perfect and being me. Not even perfect, because what is perfect, right? But like I want it to be authentic. I want it
Like
to be
perfectly representing
branded.
you. Yes.
Yes, I want it to be branded. I want it to make sense. If I'm going to put my name on something, that's why I overthought my website. I changed it like a bunch of times before I even did it. Like I kept doing the trial for 2 weeks, doing a site, didn't
Here's a
like it,
thought.
scrapped it.
Here's a thought. Why do you think it's so much easier for you to do it for other people versus yourself?
Because I think this is something that represents me, and it's interesting because in the beginning of my career, starting my agency, I was doing stuff for friends and former colleagues and just getting experience. I didn't have a website until a year ago. I've been
Okay.
doing this for over 5 years. So
Mm-hmm.
as a person that didn't have a website and didn't really need one, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
when I do it, I'm gonna do it beautiful and I'm gonna be proud of it. And this is like my name is attached to this. I'm a person that builds things, beautiful things, and I want it to represent that. My first site was not that at all, which is
Mm-hmm.
fine. I just wanted to get something out. I had a conference to go to. I was like, I want proof of concept. Didn't
Yeah.
showcase what I did. But now this site, I am extremely proud of it. But the amount of overthinking when, on the blocks we learn, you put out your MVP and you could change it and it's fine. But I am highly critical when it comes to how I'm presenting myself in that professional way. In regular life, it's like, I'm not, but something about that persona feels like it has to be this perfection. And I don't know. Maybe I don't need to do that. And I don't know why I'm telling myself that I do.
Yeah, it's definitely like the energy of like it's so rigid. It's like it has to be done this way. Like I would love for you to dive deeper, like where that is stemming from, and is it showing up anywhere else besides your branding, besides your consistency? Because my thought prior was you get to be in this creative flow space for your clients, and it's so easy to pull things together for them because you're trusting your gifted abilities to put forth their vision. And so there's no doubt of like, is this really representing them? Like, is this good? It's like, no, this is bomb. Like, this is so
Yeah.
good. Like, you have that energy behind that because you know your capabilities. Where it's like when it comes to self, um, you feel lost, which is ironic.
I know it's very ironic.
And yeah, you are someone, I mean, none of us can be, but like, it's hard to have inner reflection towards self sometimes, which is why, I'm
Mhm.
a coach and a therapist. I have my own healers that help me do my own healing because you can't always see, the things. But um, I think you're struggling with wanting to be seen a certain way as opposed like perfect, like, it's supposed to be done this way, it has to be consistent, all the things, versus like, have you taken the time to sit with how beautiful you are as a person and that be enough? Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter what you post and how you do it. If it has Emily's magic sauce in it, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I'm struggling with professionalism in that, and I'm going to go on a little quick tangent, but like professionalism is so rooted in like white supremacy. And I'm so anti that. So
mm,
I feel like there's a struggle of like having to be this corporate girly image, but also I'm myself. So how do I tie the two and make it just me, but not, maybe there's a fear of like, if I'm doing too much of being myself or being this like rebel, that it's going to turn people off. But it's like, I've gotten all my clients being myself. So it doesn't matter.
correct. Oh,
Yeah.
just okay. So this is a branding conversation. So this is like
Yes.
you could
It's the
never.
brand. It's the
It's the
personal
brand.
brand. Because
Yes,
I
like
feel
you're
like I
finding.
am different from my professional brand image than my personal brand image. I feel like
Oh, so maybe you
Tina
should
Medina
combine
and
the
vice versa
two.
strategy are two different people.
So you need to combine the two.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's gonna get real. Okay.
I should
So
have led with that.
well, because when you gave us on the Block's Bestie group chat that we have, when you gave us your site, it looks beautiful. It looks very professional,
Thank you.
but it doesn't showcase Emily.
It's sterile. Interesting. Okay.
Okay. And so yeah, like yeah, I think you have to combine the two. So when it comes to like branding, like it seems like you're scared to be your authentic self in the professional world.
Yes. I've always said, because I've always been a person that's like, I want to have a clothing line. I haven't gotten there yet. But I've always said, if I have a brand, I will not be at all anywhere in my brand. I won't
You
model
have
the
to
clothes.
be.
I want to, it's like I want to create a persona. And I don't know why I want to do that.
Well, leave that to your clients. Like you create the personas for your clients because they're not you, and you're able to be like the director who does all the things
Yeah.
behind the scenes for them. But when it comes for your personal brand, you got to be in it. You have to be in it. You get to be in it. It's not forceful. You get to be in it. Like literally, like I promise you, Em, as you were talking, like, yes, I'm interviewing you for my podcast. This is amazing, great content. And also, like, as your friend, I'm like, I literally, my thoughts was like, I have the coolest friends. I have the cool, like, literally, And so you want people to feel that. I mean, this, you do it for other people. You want people to feel that for you. And you've some people are better at networking online, some people are better at networking in person. You're so good in person, you have to translate that to your online brand.
Yeah, and I feel like it doesn't show. Can I tell you, I've gotten feedback even in interviews where they told me they're like, your resume does not
Match
translate
this
to like,
beauty of a person that you are in
yeah,
the inside and out. Yes. It's like you're
yeah,
doing yourself a disservice.
yeah. I don't know how to translate the two to bridge the gap. And I think a lot of it has to do with I'm just not talking enough online.
Yeah.
And that's why I said back to what you were saying, how you give a lot of updates. I admire that so much from you because it's so hard for me to just pick. I feel like if I pick up the phone, I have to have my makeup done. I have to be wearing a certain outfit. It has to match my brand. It
We'll
has like,
talk about that.
why? I don't
Because
know.
it's you. So
And I always say that I have to do these things, but I'm like, oh, it's got to be like, that's
no.
so artificial because I'm not even like that. I don't even wear makeup every day. Like, I don't even,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like you would reach so many people because no one is like you. And so if you pick up the phone, and I know it's uncomfortable, you pick up the camera, but if this is a desire of yours, then you would show up saying like, yo, this is really awkward. Like, and you could just say that,
Yeah.
like I am someone who loves astrology. I'm a people person. I love networking, and this shit is hard. I don't like seeing myself on camera. And like, you're just being open and honest. I was teaching like a branding, not a branding course per se, a class for my entrepreneurs about the importance of being vulnerable and that being your brand. Like at the end of the day,
Yes. Oh,
I'm shifting. I'm shifting. I'm now, I used to have a cohort that was just healing for mamas, and I used to have a cohort that was just for business owners. And I'm in a chapter of my life where I'm trying to see my babies more, work less, make more, have a larger impact. And so a lot of my motherhood clients sometimes down the line end up wanting to curate their own businesses. They want to follow in my footsteps. So I end up coaching them on that. And I'm like, it just bestowed upon me like a month ago. Like, why not just combine those two cohorts? Why keep separating them?
yeah.
So now my company is working on our main product to now be the program where I help mothers create a sustainable business. I help them launch, I help them scale, like whatever, wherever it is, because for me, I'm a therapist at the end of what I do, right? So even as I'm speaking, you could think like, oh my God, like what is Julia's brand? Like, this is so confusing. At the end of the day, I help people.
That's what
I
I'm saying. I really don't see it that way. And honestly, I look forward to your emails because it's so you. I actually read it in your voice. They're so
Mhm.
authentic. Like the section at the bottom of your email about the blocks
The
of like how to
journals.
even find it, I
Yeah.
actually copy and pasted it and use that.
Okay.
I was like, I can't even figure out how to explain this. Like, but you just laid it out. I feel like you make things so easy and you layer it, and the way your storytelling is, it's like,
Storytelling. Yes.
and I feel
But
like
my
I'm
storytelling is
but you're
about
so,
me.
yes. And you're like, I saw your au pair email and it's just, you're being vulnerable. And I think that's what it is. I am scared to be vulnerable online unless it's like
And
my
we
real
need
life.
that. We need
Yes.
that. We
I think
need
I get
that.
caught up also in this. This is a very analytical, like, I look at how other people in my industry talk and I feel like, okay, I have to be like this corporate robot, but that's just, I'm never that. And
Talk about that. I mean, this
yeah,
is homework. This is your homework. Talk
okay.
about how you have been concealing yourself from who you truly are in the corporate world, and how you're slowly making a transition to bringing more of your authentic self into your business.
Okay. That's going to be my LinkedIn post.
Okay. And then just keep talking about it. And then when you feel awkward, talk about it. Like I was teaching my clients the other day, and it was a good reminder for myself. It's like, you can't fuck this up. If you stay true to who you are and that is your brand, you can sell anything.
Yeah.
Because I am Julissa. That there's no one else that can be me. And
Yeah.
as I've changed in becoming a mother, a business owner, a dog owner, like a cat. I had two cats at one time and a dog. Like used to put them in my content. Like my life continuously evolves, and I am simply sharing my life. And if you vibes with it, then whatever my heart desires to sell at that time is the best fucking product because I'm excited about it at that time. So it could be about how to better water your plants. I don't know. I'm not good with plants. Even don't buy that course from me. I am not a good plant mom. But it could be about whatever. It could be as long as it pertains to something that I am excited about you will want to buy from me, not just me, from anyone, because there's authenticity there. I'm not in it to just take your money. Like I am truly passionate about this thing, and you can only know what I'm passionate about if I continue to give you updates on who I
I
am as
tell
a
you.
person.
Yeah. I need to tell you and I don't tell them anything. That's the problem. My
Yeah.
brand is like blank. So,
Ooh, you could have like a series about like who really is Emily behind vice versa strategy.
mm,
I
I
show
love
up
it.
like this, but I'm really doing this in the background.
Yes.
I show up like this and I'm writing these bomb ass emails, but I'm really watching whatever trash TV you're watching.
Yeah, 90 Day Fiance. Yes.
Yes, yes, right? Like it
I
would be
think that's
nice.
always been like a struggle for me because especially online, I have never up until a year ago talked about what I do for a living. And I've always traveled so much. So people were like, "Are you an athlete's girlfriend? Like, what do you do?" Like people would DM
Girl,
constantly. How are you always traveling? What do you do? Nobody knew. And then I started posting one client and everyone's like, "Do you work at that company?" I'm like, "No, I have an agency."
this
And it's
is
like,
my
"Have an
company.
agency?"
This is
So it's
my
like
company.
I've always concealed my like corporate life from the world. Am I hiding the world from corporate or am I hiding corporate from my life? I don't know. But
Yeah.
there's always I need to bridge the gap of my career. And I've always said like I won't like social media if it becomes too stuffy because then it's not fun for me. But I think I need to find a playful, fun way because that's just who I am as a person. Like I need to just talk that way, but I feel like I have to be this professional thing. I'm like fighting with the identity crisis of like corporate.
You, yeah. The video that you posted in our group chat, that could have gone on a story.
Here are the updates. Okay. I think I need, okay, I'm gonna do a vulnerable video because
Yeah.
people still don't even understand what I do because again, I don't explain it.
Yeah, and
So,
when you were going ham on what you do, it was like, wow, this is a boss ass babe who is just doing all the things. And like, yeah, we need to hear more about that.
okay.
With
Yes.
your astrology, with your connectedness, with your mixiness, all of it, with your travel.
Yeah.
I hope that was helpful.
I'm inspired.
All right, girlie. Well, thank you because this episode, this podcast is all about mindset mastery, right? And so you gave us such a great overview on detoxing, on getting away, on having balance, and all the things, and what you do for your clients, allowing them to have greater mental health because you're taking the load off of their plates, right? And I always love bringing vulnerability into the conversation because we're people, even though we're doing amazing things, because we really are. We got struggles. We have our own interpersonal problems that we're going to. Me too. Literally, like before I decided to put those two things together, my inner critic was like, "You're always flip-flopping, Jalissa. Like, why you're always flip-flopping? Like, pick something." And then it was a reminder of like, I can do whatever the fuck I
But
want.
why? Yeah, exactly. But why? And I
Yeah.
feel the same way where I'm like, I have to pick something. I have to pick a personal brand, and this is how it's going to be, and this is how you're going to talk, and you're going to write a script, and you're going to talk like a robot. But why?
It's
I'm
not
not
you.
even a robot in real life. Why?
Yeah, I have like I'm the girl who has like 30 condiments because I need choices.
Oh God, that's my
I
whole
need
fridge. Everyone's like, you always
options.
have so much food. I'm like, no, they're condiments. I have
I
every type of honey mustard you can think
have a drawer full of sauces. Yes, I need the options. Yeah. So I love this conversation, girly. Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Emily Vernon on LinkedIn. I also have a LinkedIn for my business, Vice Versa Strategy. You could also find me on Instagram at Vice Versa Strategy. And then my website's www.viceversastrategy.com.
Beautiful. All of those links will be in our show notes. We're also going to link the the show that we were both a part of. And yeah, thank you so much, until next time.
Until next time, thank you so much.
You're welcome, girly. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me today on Mindset Mastery Podcast. I hope today's conversation inspired you to embrace your own journey of balancing motherhood and entrepreneurship. Remember, it's all about mastering your mindset to create a life of success and fulfillment in both areas. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more incredible moms just like you. Until next time, keep showing up, keep growing, and mastering your mindset.